Hey, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are in the Asia Pacific. My name is Camilla Jennings and I'm the General Manager for the Swedish Australian Chamber of Commerce here in Australia. So welcome everyone. This event is organized by the Swedish Australian Chamber. Mentioned that the Swedish Chamber of Commerce in Singapore has also been helping organizing this online event. Introduce Petra Andrén, who is going to be our moderator for this session. And Petra is an innovator specialist, also an honorary member of the Swedish Australian Chamber of Commerce board. So welcome, Petra.
Thank you so very much, Camilla. And this, of course, is not about me. As you all know, we have a very, very special guest here today, Helena Hedblom. Helena, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Just a quick introduction to set the scene for you. Helena is an incredible leader, as you all know, who's taken the mining industry, if I can say so, by storm, putting innovation really at the front and center. And as we're going to hear from her presentation, she's going to talk about how she's applying these new ways of working in the mines using digitization, automation, and indeed also electrification. All of this, of course, is about increasing productivity for Epiroc's clients. But the really, really cool thing is that these innovations also lead to increased safety and sustainability, which we're going to talk to Helena about. I'm really excited about hearing all of that. But brief introduction before I let Helena give us a brief presentation on what Epiroc is all about. She is, of course, the CEO and President of Epiroc, and she has been so since 2020. And she's she's been part of the Atlas Copco family, if I can call it that, for almost 20 years, holding various roles. And again, it's worth reminding everybody that don't perhaps know the story that Epiroc and Atlas Copco, of course, have a shared history from 1873 to 2018. When the split from Atlas Copco happened and Epiroc became a standalone listed company. Helena, I'm going to actually leave it there, but just say that you haven't had a honeymoon exactly. I'm really sorry about that. At Epiroc, you've had to deal with some really, really tough challenges, and the way that you've dealt with them and come out stronger the other side. Really excited to hear about that. And it's what also led to your very prestigious award. I think we have to mention that. Helena won Leader of the Year award last year, which is a very prestigious award given out by Affärsvärlden magazine. We can translate it Business World magazine. And I just want to set the scene and just read what the motivation for this award was. It goes like this. Helena, she sits on the margins that the competition looks on enviously. And in addition, she's been able to steer Epiroc through one crisis after another, always with clear, modern, and confident leadership. So what a treat we have to have you here today, Helena. Over to you to tell us a little bit about Epiroc.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining. Very much looking forward to this session. So if we can put up the slides, and I will start with giving you just a couple of introductory remarks on Epiroc for the ones of you that don't know us so much. But maybe some words on myself first. So I've been in the company actually 23 years now. I'm an engineer, so I started as an engineer, and I've been heading our product development, our manufacturing entities, then sales division, business area within Atlas Copco, and then business area within Epiroc, and then the last 4 years as CEO for Epiroc. So more or less my whole career within mining and construction, and I truly love what I do. And I'm very, let's say, honored to have been given this opportunity to lead this fantastic organization. So I will give you a short introduction to Epiroc and the journey that we have embarked on after the split from Atlas Copco. So if you take next slide. So So I usually say that we are a 151-year-old startup company. So as you mentioned that, Petra, we have our legacy, a very long legacy from the years within Atlas Copco, with processes, with procedures, a very strong market position, a presence in 150 countries. But we also had the opportunity of, when we did the split from Atlas Copco, to create something even better and to become an even faster player in the mining and infrastructure space. And that is what we have been trying to do the last 5 years. So roughly we are 18,000 employees. We have additional workforce of 2,000, so roughly 20,000 employees. And you see to the left that we have had a very good journey. We have more than doubled the revenues. We sit at 60 billion in revenue, which is roughly 6 billion euro, and very attractive margins. So we delivered 21.8% EBIT margin last year. And the year before that, we had a record margin on over 23%. And this is a much better performance than we ever had when we were part of Atlas Copco. And then, of course, you can wonder how come that we can perform so much better now as a standalone company. And I think we will debate that during this hour as well, Petra and myself. What have we done to create these results? Our business is, 1/3 is equipment sales. And that is loaders, it's trucks, it's drilling equipment for both surface and underground. But a big portion of our business is aftermarket. And this is really very much where we make the difference for our customers, where we are this true productivity partner, making sure that our equipment will deliver the value that we have been selling to our customers. So this is roughly the data for the company. As you can see, also we have a very strong revenue coming from Asia Pacific. So Asia Pacific is a very important region for us, but we have a very good global spread. So if you take next. So when we did the split from Atlas Copco, we outlined our strategy for profitable growth, how to double the revenue in 5 years. And that's very much what we have delivered upon. And it's a very simple strategy. So we focus on attractive niches. And for us, attractive niches is very much hard rock formations where we can differentiate ourselves with technology, but also where there is a strong, a big and recurring aftermarket potential. And we aim always to outperform, so to grow faster than the underlying market growth, but also to outperform when it comes to profitability. So we always have the ambition to be number 1 or number 2 in the segment that we are in. And if we're not number 1 and 2, we need to get there. Otherwise, we exit that segment. So that's a very clear strategy, because to be number 1 and 2, that allows us to have margins so that we can invest in innovation. So the strategy is quite simple, as you can see here. It's focus on innovation, aftermarket, operational excellence, and then we have our culture and sustainability as the foundation. And if we start with innovation, for me, this is really where we make the difference for our customers. This is where I would say that innovation is very much built into the DNA of the company. And we are proud of being a technology leader. So we always try to push the boundaries and see what's next, to understand what will be the solutions, the technologies that our customers will need maybe 5-10 years from now. And very often it's actually before they know it and understand it themselves. And I will touch on these technology shifts that are shaping the mining and infrastructure industries right as we speak, because it's very much about automation, taking away people from the dangerous places in mining. It's digitalization, to connecting things and get real-time understanding of we'll say opportunities when it comes to productivity, and then electrification, which is the mining and construction industry is in big need for reduction of the CO2 emission. But we also have a very strong focus on growing the aftermarket, and that is also where we have been very successful the last 5 years. Very much making sure that we are becoming the best productivity partner, and this is all about having presence, having very skilled service technicians out there in the field, and being very close to our customers. Then a very strong focus on operational excellence. And the reason why we put operational excellence at the core is to allow ourselves to innovate and to have the money to spend on innovation, but also on acquisitions. So we have more than doubled our investments, organic investments in product development during the last 5 years. And to be able to do that, of course, we need to be very efficient then on admin, for example, in the supply chain, excellence in manufacturing, etc., to allow us to double the investment in innovation. So that has been a clear priority that we decided upon when we created Epiroc. Very, very strong company culture. We had that already from Atlas Copco, and we have continued to build on this culture. We are trying to become even more agile. I'm very convinced that the fastest player will be the winner long term. So we're doing a lot to try to simplify the organization, taking away layers, making sure that we are hands-on people that very much, act with speed. And sustainability is embedded in everything we do. I strongly believe that sustainability is a business opportunity moving forward. And I will give a couple of examples of that later on. So if you take next. So a little bit, saying some words on these technology trends. So if we start with automation, this is an area where we have invested a lot the last, I would say, 10 years. Today, we have autonomous fleet up running in all regions, and we can deploy an autonomous Eprioc fleet in less than 3 weeks. So we have a very strong position within automation, both on surface and on underground. So what we're doing right now, where we're putting our investments in product development, is very much about mixed fleet automation. And we have done 2 acquisitions in this space, but we're also rolling this out now with very high speed. And this is a position that no other OEM has taken, and I see this as an opportunity. But some words then on automation. So of course, this is about taking away people from the dangerous places. I think this is, for me personally, this is one of the most important transitions that the industry is going through. Mining and construction are the most dangerous industries in the world. For every individual we can take away from the dangerous places and put in an office with screens instead, this is of course extremely important. But it also leads to higher productivity, and it reduces the CO2 emission, as you can see. So the rigs you see on the picture there, that's our big 271 pit vipers for surface applications. We managed to lower the cost with 40% per drill meter when we run in autonomous mode, but also roughly 30% reduction of CO2 emission, which is of course a big impact for our customers on their sustainability journey as well. So this is one of the areas that we are investing a lot in, when both organic but also on the acquisition side. And if we take next. And just some numbers then, so you see where we are. So we have a large fleet, of course, of equipment out there. Of the total fleet, roughly 8,000 machines are enabled, RCS enabled. That's our rig control system. That means that the machines can be automated. We have today now 1,000 machines and that's mixed fleet. So it's could be Caterpillar, could be Hitachi, could be Sandvik machines. So more than 1,000 machines in teleremote mode, meaning that the operator is standing with a control panel and not sitting in the machine. We have more than 750 autonomous drills, Eprioc autonomous drills running 24/7. And we have more than 650 mixed fleet autonomous loads. This is loaders and trucks. So and this is happening rapidly now in all regions, which I think is fantastic to see. And I would say the biggest fleet we have is in Australia right now. But I see the trend everywhere. So this will be very good for the industry. Another very big technology shift is electrification. It started underground. We started this journey maybe 10 years ago, and we saw the opportunity to take away the diesel motors underground and or engines underground and put in an electric driveline. And this is it's both, of course, we'll say the working environment for the operators underground, but it also takes away heat, noise, and of course it takes away the fumes from the machines. But even more so, it also reduces the need for ventilation. You know, just to put it in perspective, an underground mine moves more air than rock. So that's the amount of air that you need to push through a mine to ventilate the fumes away. So of course, everything you can do there to reduce the fumes you generate underground is of great value. So if you take next slide, I will just give you an example of how it looks like. For this is an average underground mine, a copper underground mine in Australia. You can see that drilling stands for roughly 1% of their CO2 emission. Loading is 14 and hauling is 15. But then the ventilation piece is actually 35%. Just to run, the energy you need to run ventilation is 35%. So by taking away the diesel engines underground, you can reduce, you know, you can take away roughly, you know, 70% of the CO2 emission in an underground mine. And that's of course huge. So this is also a fantastic, you know, trend and a shift that we are leading. We have acquired several companies in this space as well, both electrical infrastructure companies to be able to roll this out, you know, in a faster pace together with our customers, but also retrofit capabilities so that we can actually take old diesel machines and convert them into electric machines. Very strong interest in all regions in the world. And here, actually, Africa is leading the way. So we have most BEVs in Africa as we speak, which is quite interesting. That has never been the region driving the shift before in mining. So that's also, you know, interesting. But it's happening everywhere. As I said, you know, 2/3 of the company is our aftermarket. So a big portion is service. This is spare parts, different components, but also we have a very strong business related to service agreements. So we have 7,500 service technicians located on mine sites across the world and working, you know, 24/7 together with our customers. They're working on our customers' premises, and this gives us fantastic insights, you know, into the challenges our customers are having, but of course also it creates a stickiness, you know, with our customers. We have also added a lot of service products like midlife rebuilds, for example, to prolong the life of the equipment. So we're moving more and more towards this circular economy where we're pushing the life of the machines and giving them a second or a third life to be able to reuse as many components as possible. Then we have also big business related to rock drilling tools and attachments. And we announced just before Christmas the largest acquisition so far for us, which is Stanley Infrastructure that we bought from Stanley Black & Decker. So that will add another 5 billion SEK in revenue for us in the attachment space, and moving more towards recycling than and demolition, which we also see as clear trends moving forward. And then, as I said, a very strong commitment on sustainability as well. So we have these are our goals for 2030. So we are targeting no work-related injuries. We have a lot of work ongoing, when especially we're rolling out Safe Start in the company globally, but also working a lot with live work elimination, making sure that we can use technology to take away the risky steps and procedures in handling our equipment. We have also committed to double the number of women in operational roles. And our biggest challenge, that is among service technicians and in our workshops. But we have very good progress here every quarter. I'm very happy to see the numbers, as well as on female managers in Eprioc is also trending upwards every quarter. So we have a very strong focus on both inclusion and diversity. Of course, also very strong. We are, as I said, in 150 countries, important that we do business in a responsible way everywhere. We are in many difficult markets. So, you know, high ethical standards is crucial for us. But then on the CO2 side, we have committed to half the emissions in operations, 90% renewables from our own operations, to half the CO2 emission from transport, and then to offer a full range of emission-free products. So by 2025, we have committed that our full range of underground equipment will be emission-free, and by 2030, all the surface machines will also be available emission-free. And this is our biggest contribution to the CO2 emission for our customers. 86% of Epiroc's CO2 emission total impact relates due to the use of our products. So this is where we can really make a difference. But we also put this pressure on our suppliers for them to halt the CO2 emission. And we have very exciting projects ongoing with SSAB, the Swedish steel maker, to use their fossil-free steel in our machines. So we have started that journey, which is also, you know, fantastic to see Swedish companies coming together and building sustainable value chains. Our sustainability goals are validated by science-based targets, which is also, you know, a quality assurance that we are doing this in a serious way, and we have plans in place to reach our goals. And that's just coming back then on, so our financial targets for, you know, that's grow 8% per year over a cycle, which is to outperform the underlying growth. We expect that mining and construction, with the split we are roughly 75 towards mining, 25 towards construction, that we will have maybe 5% underlying growth. And our target is 8%. As you can see, we have delivered 10% since the creation of Eprioc, since we started this journey. So we have been growing in a good way, and we have also been able to uplift the margin, the EBIT margin, as you can see on the chart there to the right. So our target is to have the best margin in the industry, and we are proud also that we can say that we have that. And if our competitors, if they are improving, then we need to improve even more. So that's the challenge we have. But you know, really good years, the first 5 years since the split from Atlas Copco, and of course my task is now to lead Eprioc into the future and to continue this growth journey, to continue to grow, you know, with high pace, with industry leading margins, and to really stay ahead of competition in this race. I would call it a race for technology, making sure that we have the best aftermarket offering, and of course in my, you know, as I see it, we will talk about that, you know, later as well, but it's all about talents. It's all about attracting the best people we can find, and to build a very strong company culture that can attract the younger generation also, so that we are relevant for another 150 years, because that is what we need. So that's a very quick introduction from my side about Epiroc.
Thank you so much. And I think that was great, Helena, because we did need a little bit of scene setting. And of course, you know, I'm dying to unpack, you know, a little bit more who you are, because I think you're part of Epiroc's secret sauce, if I can say that. And what I'd like to do is to take us back to the beginning, just to see how this company has become what it is today. So if I go back to the split from Atlas Copco, you said you've had some fantastic years, and you have. But those years have not been without challenges. And I hate to take us back to COVID, but I have to, because I'm fascinating just looking at Epiroc. You hadn't been in your role for very long when COVID hit, and you made some really fast decisions. Other people were sitting around the board tables procrastinating, but you made some really fast decisions, short term, but also some permanent cost cutting decisions. Yeah. How could you do that with such a big company? How did you do that? Can you take us back?
I think when of course, when you know, when we were there in Q2 2020, it was a very dramatic, those first weeks. We had 60 suppliers were in lockdown. We had 6 factories in lockdown. I had 1,000 technicians stranded on sites, on mine sites that the mines were closed down. So of course it was a very dramatic development there for a couple of weeks. I do believe that when leading in a crisis mode, you need to be very clear with your priorities. So we initiated a very quick cost cut. We laid off roughly 1,000 people in 2 months.
I remember. Yes.
Yeah. So it was very tough decisions. We also, because we had shortages of components, so we decided immediately to prioritize aftermarket, because that's how we keep our customers' operation up running. That's also how we generate our own cash flow.
Yeah.
So that was crucial, which of course led to a lot of, that's not an easy decision within an organization. So that had to be my decision, to prioritize for the organization what's the best way forward. But we also kept the organization very tight from a communication standpoint. I had weekly updates with the organization of the development everywhere. So and we did not really follow the organization structure. So I invited all leaders could listen to me every week and get the information of the latest. And I think that really made a difference from a leadership standpoint, that they could hear my voice and not filtered through many layers of leaders.
And I guess mining industry, it's cyclical anyways. And so you kind of have it built in to sort of weather these kinds of storms, perhaps not a storm like this, but where are you now? Do you still feel the aftershocks of COVID, or have you completely recovered as a company?
I think we have recovered, but of course the supply chain challenges are still there. In certain lanes, if we take the lane to Australia, for example, is still prolonged. There are still some shortages of engines for our largest machines, for example. So there are still issues. And then the ro-ro capacity, since we are shipping, we ro-ro. There's not enough ships actually in the world for ro-ro capacity. So that it's still. But it's of course much better than some years ago.
But that's super interesting. And of course, you always talk about investing, in the future, even though you're in a time of a crisis, and you've done exactly that. And you mentioned acquisitions in your presentation as well. I have to say, I don't know what to say. I don't understand 6 to 7 acquisitions per year in the last couple of years. Being someone who comes from the venture capital industry, not even a VC firm can do that, just only that, that's a lot of investments with all the due diligence. And you've also acquired minority stakes in some of these high growth companies. What's your thinking? That's very unusual for a big corporate to go in and not just acquire outright, but take a minority stake. What's your thinking there in terms of culture? Why do you do that?
So we have taken, as I say, if I start on that, we have taken stakes in companies that we see, serve other industries as well. And I believe, I really believe in that. You need to have a big way, many ways now to get technology. I'm so focused on speed, and sometimes it's actually better to have the development coming from other industries, moving into mining, and instead of trying to develop everything yourself for mining. So or to buy everything, because of course you sometimes you slow a startup down as well if you are a big industrial player. So most of the companies we are acquiring 100%. But we have done a couple of minority stakes, taking 34%. Which is also, it's to make sure that they keep the speed and the input from other industry verticals they serve.
And can you tell us a bit about some of these acquisitions that you've done? Some of those smaller companies, some of those really cutting edge things that you've lifted into Epiroc just lately.
Yeah. So we have created a commercial digital division. And that is a structure that now holds most of these acquired technology companies, and that is everything from automation companies, mixed fleet automation companies, it's connectivity companies, those type of capabilities, Radlink, for example, in Australia. But we also have pure software companies that were acquired, everything from making sure that you can put down probes in the hole to understand what type of elements you are drilling into, so that you can optimize the full flow of the process for the mining companies. So we are aiming on the digital side. We are aiming at taking a position which is beyond our own equipment. It's very much to optimize our customers, drill to mill, which is much broader. But we have gathered all of these acquisitions under one umbrella. And of course, this is a change management for us as well, to bring in, because this is not selling physical products like we are used to, machines and spare parts. This is something completely different, but it's a very exciting journey, I must say. And this is where we have put most of our efforts. So most of the acquired companies are in these technology trends, around electrification, around digital, around automation.
And it's funny when you talk about it, because I can tell that you're very excited when you talk about it. And I have to ask you here, rumor has it, and this could be wrong, but I've done my homework on you. Rumor has it that when you were at Atlas Copco, we're talking years and years and years ago, you somehow, uninvited initially, but only initially, showed up at these acquisition discussions. Because you're so interested in it. And at some point, they just expected you to be there. So you kind of got a standing invitation. Is that true?
Yeah, it is actually. But I was always being very fascinated about the business development dimension of things. So I even though when I had the R&D position, actually, when I was vice president R&D, I almost forced myself into those meetings because I wanted to understand, I wanted to learn, and after a while I was actually heading all these studies. But I'm super excited about. I think it's maybe part of my creative side.
It must be, because you also do co-design with clients, don't you? If they have a really challenging, so there's that as well.
Absolutely. So we have many very exciting projects ongoing with the customers. Where we and that's very, that's a completely different setup, because that's very much also that we agree on the CEO level that we're doing this and we're in it to the end, because it's a bumpy road, of course, when you're pushing the boundaries and doing something that no one else has done before. Of course, it's challenging. But it's also very rewarding when you do it like that. So if I take one example, we did it with BHP for the autonomous surface fleet. We did that maybe 7 years ago. So we say that we nail and scale the solutions. We nail it with one customer, and then when we have nailed it, we scale to the rest of the world. And that's exactly what we're doing now with Roy Hill in Australia for mixed fleet surface automation. So there we're automating Hitachi and Caterpillar surface trucks, the big ones, the 300 tons machines, and putting then a lot of efforts into, that's more than 3 years where we're working with Roy Hill now. So that's very much how we do it. And then when we nail the technology after that, we scale it.
I love it. That's fantastic. I want to just dig a little bit into culture, because you do have a very special culture. I think we mentioned that you're a big beast, if I can call you that. 150 countries, and you've got this decentralized model as well, where you have a direct sales model, and obviously you've got to build this relationship with the customers. But despite this, you've created this one culture. One distinct culture, but across so many different sites and countries. What's your thinking there? How do you do that? Is it intentional? How does one sort of, not in one place, but how do you make sure that your values and whatever you're building, that transcends to all these other locations?
But we work a lot with this, and for me, it's of course, it's the leaders in the organization. They are crucial, really, because they need to live the culture and live our values. So we put a lot of focus on our leaders and making sure that they share the same values, and we invest in leadership. And I think for moving into the future as well, I think the leaders of the future needs to be brave, because there's so much uncertainties, there's so much opportunities, everything is moving so much quicker. So I do believe that the leaders are the key to success. And if you manage to get the leaders with you on a journey like this, and that they can actually stand and live with truly stand for the values of the company, then that generates a very strong company culture overall. But we have a lot. So I must say, when I'm out traveling, I'm traveling non-stop. That's very much what I'm doing. I see the same type of people
If you were to describe like an Epirocker, I don't know if there's such a thing, but it sounds cool, like the Epirocker. If you are recruiting, you know, trying to find an Epirocker, what are sort of the traits that you're looking for if you're recruiting for value and to fit into this specific culture?
It's professional people, down to earth, hands-on, and people that are prepared to walk that extra mile. I would say that we are all extremely competitive. We hate to lose. We want to win. But also I must say that it's like a family-oriented culture. So we are also, you know, we are looking for team players. You know, I'm a strong believer of team players, because that's how you win. You win together. You don't win, you know, by yourself.
So it sounds like you're almost like a luxury startup. You're well resourced, you can move fast, but yet you've got those values from the old Atlas Copco, or the old Dame, if I can call it that.
Trying to mix this, and we're also trying to learn from the new acquired companies, because of course they come with a different way of thinking, different way of interacting with the customers, and at higher speed. So we also use that to get influences and make sure, rather than taking the Eprioc culture and, okay, this is how we do it, also get inspiration from the way, you know, these companies, how they are doing it. And I see that if I look on last year, you know, more or less all the people we added to the group last year, I think it was 1,500, more or less all of them came from acquisitions. So of course, you know, that's a fantastic opportunity also from a culture standpoint.
But Helena, when you started, and you know, you were saying fastest will be the winner, and I know that you've got some of these agile methods. It's very startup-y, you know, when you work with sprints and 30 days in product development, and then you iterate and you pivot. To a lot of people in your industry, though, when you first introduced this, did they think you were crazy? Was there pushback?
Yeah, but then, you know, I've been heading product development myself for many years. So there are tricks to do this, and I think, you know, when people get, you know, because it's very fun to work in an agile setup. So you need to, you know, people need to feel safe. I'm also a strong believer in this psychological safety, and if you can put that dimension into an organization, then it's actually not so hard to move more towards this open, where, you know, where you share everything, where it's not that you sit with your own part of the problem and you're solving it. It's more like you're sharing it, and it's like you co-create. But it's back to the culture, and that you need to have that safety in an organization and in a team, to be able to get that, let's say, energy and that creativity. But I think it's also about you know, inclusion and diversity, because to really be creative together, you need to allow, you know, you need to have different people in that setting, different backgrounds, different capabilities, personalities, you know, the culture dimension. So we have done a lot of you know, also, you know, we'll say purposely working with diversity. If I take the software development side, for example, we have recruited a lot of individuals with Asperger. To make
so neurodiverse as well.
Diverse also what type of you know, personalities you have in the group. And of course, that is, you can be a challenge from a leadership standpoint. But when the leaders, when you have created a safe environment, then and people understand that it's an asset to be different, then that's, you know, that gives fantastic results.
And I know that you've, I mean, you're always saying that, you know, diversity comes in all form. It's not just about gender diversity. But I do have to ask you as well, because I've had so many questions actually via LinkedIn before I was going to have this chat to you, from women that see you as a role model. And you have a bit of rock star status there, Helena. You just have to deal with that. And if I go, you've said that you bring in women step by step. You don't just overnight just quota them in, so to speak. You do it step by step. Can you talk to us about that and what you mean when you say that?
But I think, you need to take it step by step, because you need to get the experience and to grow with the challenge as well. Because I sometimes I say that, it's very much that when you are, when it's sunshine, it's very easy to be a leader. And that's both for men and women, of course. But it's when it's tough, that's when you really learn, and that's also when you grow as a leader. And I see, if you for me, it's, everyone needs to take this step by step, because you need to lead complex organization in a decentralized setup like we have. The divisional presidents, the people reporting to me, that's like mini CEOs. They have global responsibilities in all these 150 countries, full P&L, full balance sheet responsibility. It's very demanding roles. And the same goes for the level below. So it is very demanding roles. So I strongly believe that you need to help, and of course guide and make sure that you create opportunities for the women in the organization to be exposed to the challenging parts in an organization. So which is very much operational roles. It's in sales, marketing. It's when you are in the customer center running a full P&L, or when you are operational, if you're in production or in logistics, where the pressure is on non-stop. And I think you need to learn that. You can't jump several at least for me. I don't think that's, and we have done it sometimes. And then you also see that you don't want people to fail. You plan for success, and then you need to do it.
And you seem to be an organization that give people a lot of opportunities, and you had a lot of opportunities as well going through Atlas Copco, and you went from a specialist role to an quite a big operational role. So you leaned into it. Was that an easy decision? Do you have a mentor, or was that just, how did that happen for you? Do you remember?
It was, I remember, because at that point in time, I was actually looking outside the company to, and of course I was quite attractive then at that, to head the product development for other companies. But then I felt that, then I would be stuck in product development. And I felt that I wanted to do something else. But that was the first. I still remember the first weeks in that. I was heading, one of the largest manufacturing sites. We had just got the approval for the largest investment in Atlas Copco's history in that site, and 800 people on site, and full P&L, balance sheet, and a full product company with manufacturing. So that was quite, it was interesting first weeks when but that's also how you learn. You need to jump and see if you can learn and adapt, and I've been jumping several times now during my career, and I think that is maybe the advice that I give to also to everyone that wants to grow, to really, you need to be brave, and you need to put yourself in that position where you are not, you don't have all the answers.
Yes, I think that is really, really great advice. And do you think that the mining industry today, is it different to back when you first took on your first managerial position? I read somewhere that you had somebody on your team who said he wasn't going to report to you because you're a woman. Does that still happen, or have we moved on?
No, we have moved on, I must say, and I'm really, happy to see that we are embarking on this journey to a more inclusive and diverse workforce, and so are our customers. So that's very good. So I think the industry in total, we are moving together, and I think we need to do that, because we need to attract the full talent pool into this industry moving forward.
Yeah, no, thank you. And you talk a lot about sustainability, because that's kind of the red thread that goes through everything that Epiroc does. And mining today, it can be a really dirty word, unfortunately, because of climate change and fossil fuels, etc. What can the industry do you think, to reposition itself in the minds of customers and others that are perhaps not as familiar and appreciate the fact that we need mining. Obviously, we can't walk away from it. How can it reposition itself, do you think?
No, but I think, and we are talking a lot about this, in many different forums, and because I think mining is becoming high tech now. It's as I said, it's fully automated machines. They are electrified. Digitalization has come a long way. But I think and mining is needed. If you look on the gap in copper, the copper need that the copper that is needed for the coming 10 years to do the green transition, 30% of that copper has not yet been found. So there's no alternative, and there is not, you can't recycle copper to that extent, even if we recycle everything, it's not enough. It's not enough. So I think we need to, as an industry, to tell that story that mining is needed. It will be needed in the future as well. Even if we do everything we can on recycling, mining will be needed, but we need to do mining in a sustainable way. And the technology is here. It can be done in a safe, environmental friendly way. But of course, I see this as we have a large role to play, and I think this is also, it gives a purpose to the employees in Eprioc, really, to be part of
something. Yeah, and talking about trends, I understand minings are getting deeper and deeper as well around the world. I don't know how much deeper, but you can tell me. And I know that your product offering, obviously, it's above ground, but it's also very much underground. And you were talking about ventilation. And the importance of ventilation, which I must say I had not appreciated. So are there any other trends where, some real challenges are going to come up that we can solve with technology but can't yet solve that you see?
No, but so if I look on the trends, of course, as you say, mines are getting in average 30 meters deeper every year, but there's also clear depletion of ore grades. So the low-hanging fruits when it comes to grades have already been mined. So there will be, depleted ore grades. It will be deeper mines, and with depth and depletion, that means that you need to move more material. That is good for us, but it also creates more complex, layout underground, which requires then more technology, like to get an efficient setup at very high depth. You need to very much use all technologies available so that you can keep production up running 24/7. Because if I look on the product utilization of our equipment today, in average in the world, it's roughly 30%, and that's not because the machines are not that they're broken in any way. It's because there is, the full system in a mine is not more efficient than that. And of course, if the ore bodies will be more complex underground, larger distance, deeper, it will be even more, utilization could go down if we don't use technology.
Yeah. And sort of how far in the future do you think, we're going to have to wait until it's fully automated and we control everything from above ground and have the fully connected mine and everything is automated? If we do a little bit of a crystal ball here, when, Helena, can we see that?
No, but I think in mining, I think it will be it most probably, let's say 15 years from now, I think it will be there in mining. In construction, it's not as because it's not repetitive. The steps are not repetitive enough. But I think we will see more and more teleremote, where the operators are standing, at a distance, in a safe place, but maybe not autonomous.
Fair enough. And I'm going to ask you, because I know that we've got a lot of people on the call that are really interested in electrification. And of course, automation, digitization, we're pretty far along there, but electrification and batteries and battery life, what's your solution? How do you use electrification with your machines today?
So we have all our mid-size machines are ready for underground. And we have a strong partnership with Northvolt. So they are our battery supplier. We have created a modular system, so we can we can reuse the batteries in different, so we can extend the life of the batteries in a way. So we have developed a new business model that we call business as battery as a service. So we take on the batteries on our balance sheet, and then the customers pay as they use the batteries. And with that business model, we can cater for having the batteries in a drill rig in the beginning. The drill rigs are not moving a lot and they are not taking a lot of load. The second life can be in, the first life could be, for example, in a truck that is taking a lot of load. The second life could be in a loader, and the third life could be in a drill rig. And then, eventually it could be storage at the mine site. And then we recycle it back to Northvolt. So it enables a full recyclable business model as well when you do it like that.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of opportunities to develop new business models when technology shifts are happening, and that's what we are doing.
So what sort of battery life are you looking at the moment with those batteries that you're using before you got to replace them, or do you sort of charge them whilst the machine is operating and then you swap them? Is that how you do it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they last right now with the cell density. They last roughly 4 hours, and then you swap. Yeah.
Got it.
And swapping takes less than 10 minutes, so that's not
very much downtime. And going into space, Helena, what's going on there? What am I reading about you? You just closed a deal with a Japanese company to supply equipment for mining on the moon. Is that? Yeah. What should I think about this? What's this about? Tell us more.
But we have a partnership with iSpace, so we will help them with developing the equipment needed to be able to take samples on the moon. And I see this as, I have extremely creative engineers, and I think I said when I started that, they're always looking maybe 10, 15 years from now, what's next? And I think when an opportunity like this comes up, you need to, of course, we will not get a lot of revenue streams from the moon in the coming 5 years, but it gives, that challenge to our engineers to really think outside the box.
And it's a learnings, isn't it? Because electrification, you were in electrification and you have been for a long time, which is why I wanted to ask about it. And it's kind of now becoming something, but all the learnings you can now sort of make sure that you stay at the forefront, correct?
Yes. And it's the same with this. We have always had a budget almost for these, really pushing the boundaries, not just taking small steps. This is big
and I would say this would definitely fall into that category. Yes. Now we're almost running out of time, but I've got one last question that I have to ask, and I've been dying to ask you this actually. I remember when I first met you, which was right before COVID and right before you took on this crazy role at Epiroc, and you look exactly the same. You seem to be exactly the same person. What is your secret hack to keep a clear head and not be stressed? I know that you practice yoga, but surely yoga is the answer to all. What is it? Tell all the leaders on this phone call, what is it that you do?
No, but I make sure, actually, I invest a lot in myself. When it comes to making sure that I get 1.5 hours per day, maybe, for myself and what I need. So I either do yoga or I take dance classes. Every day, because that gives me that joy. I need to be, and I take quite advanced dance classes, so I need to be fully focused. I cannot think about any challenges in any part of the world or.
So you have to tell us what kind of dance classes are we talking here?
I take street dance and Afrobeat and lots of stuff. Yes, but that's my how I keep myself happy and also down to earth. And I think that is important because, of course, the pressure is enormous in a role like this.
I can imagine. Yes,
many stakeholders. Customers, employees, board, investors, media, the pressure is of course on, and you need to take care of yourself too. I usually say that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
No. And on that, I'm going to see if we have some questions in the chat. I know, sorry, Camilla, I could have spoken to you for another hour, Helena. I wish we had another hour, but we don't. So if anyone has any questions for Helena before we wrap up, we've got something here from Eprioc China. Just bear with me a second. The Chinese market is highly competitive. We have won the trust of customers. How do you view the mining and construction market? How do you view the mining and construction market in China, Helena? Does Epiroc have any investment plans to for the future in China? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think the opportunity in China is enormous, of course, and I think we have had a very good development there the last, I would say, 5 years. And we see also that the Chinese market is moving more and more towards productivity and safety. That we actually just had a strategy session 2 weeks ago, focusing solely on China and India. So there are clear plans to grow in China, and huge opportunities. Of course, there as you say, competition it's tough competition of the local players. But I think we have found a good way forward how to tackle this. But also to follow the Chinese customers as they move abroad, because Chinese mining houses are also moving outside China. So that's also an important part of the strategy for China.
Of course. Thank you. And thank you so much, Helena. Really appreciate all your insights and learnings for us. And Camilla, I think it's time for me to hand over to you again. Sadly, because I wish I could go on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Helena. Very, very inspiring presentation and a fireside chat here. Thank you so much, Petra. Well done. Very, very good. I also wanted to just thank all the chambers in Asia Pacific. It's quite amazing, this network we have, and we organize a lot of these CEO talks, and there will be more in the pipeline. So have a look at your chambers websites. We meet on a regular basis to plan these online events. So thank you so much, and have a lovely day and a nice evening.
Thank you all. Thanks, Helena.
Thank you. Thank you.